we are in Leo Fender's laboratory. This is where he would spend typically 6 days a week, sometimes more. This is the place that, as he told us, kept him alive. And in 1987, when he began to get the Parkinson's disease, the brain is still working well, but can't control things and so forth, he insisted on coming to work every day, and he was still quite productive doing pickup design and other things. Even if I was that bad, I probably wouldn't come to work, but he was. This is what kept him alive. And the story of his last day, really, is there was a prototype baritone guitar, which is now in the Fullerton Museum. We loaned it to them for their Leo Fender exhibit. That baritone guitar was sitting here very much like this guitar is now. And they brought the baritone guitar to him, Leo Fender's prototype. They put it down here for Leo to inspect, and they leave him with it. And Leo would be sitting in the chair here. And then some time passed, and it was now time for them to take him home because he couldn't drive anymore. So they come to get him, but Leo won't get out of the chair. He's looking at this instrument. This is his prototype. So they finally get a couple more people. They pick him up, and they bring him out to the car, and they put him inside the passenger's seat in the front. And the woodshop foreman who was here then, Ed, he said, yeah, it was weird. He looked like he was hanging on like a cat. Like, imagine him sitting there, his arms are outstretched, like not talking to anyone ever. Yeah. So they bring him home, and then he won't get out of the car. And then they go to the door, and they get his wife, Phyllis, to come out, and she said, come on, Leo. She gets him out of the car. And then he would usually take a little nap when he got home. So she puts him into the bed, and as she turned to leave him, he grabbed her arm, and he pulled her close. And it was very difficult for him to speak. But he told her, I've given all I can to the musicians. It's time to go now. And she was probably startled and was saying, oh, don't be silly. But she comes back later, and he's gone. So what we think is there was a prototype that was in development. There was something that he was waiting for from the shop floor that he'd been working on. And once it was here, he didn't want to go home. He wanted, as I say, the curtains come down. He wanted the last thing. He's looking at his latest development in the place that kept him alive. Yeah. So he resisted going home because he knew it was time to go, and he was going to be going any moment or hour, and he wanted to do it here. So that tells you how passionate this man was about what he did. He truly loved it, he believed it, and he loved musicians more than anything because he thought they're sort of like angels bringing joy to people. Earth, yeah. And that somehow he had this gift to bring the tools that let the angels perform, to bring happiness. So it was like his little part, and he wanted to do that until the very last day. So even the calendar on the wall still shows March of 1991.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this is an oddball story. I don't think I've ever actually told anybody in the press this one.
Even better.
And I learned this from my brother Johnny, who's really our Leo historian here. As I mentioned out in our wood shop, if you look at these benches and tables, they're all constructed the same way. This guy, Ronnie Beers, made them for Leo back at the old Fender days, and he made them here for this factory. But when Leo left Fender, once he was no longer going to be working on the premises, he took his workbenches, his toolbox, everything, his office, all of that left with him. Yeah. And all of that is here. So these benches, people recognize they're constructed like the other ones, but why are they this weird color? Well, back... Well, yeah, I know this is clearly not 70s. But back then, George Fullerton used to go to a paint supplier, automotive paint supplier. So a lot of the Fender custom colors, they just were derived from car colors. So there was a color that was, we call it Bel Air green here today, but it's basically like if you imagine it like a 1957 Chevy Bel Air, that two-tone, you got that green color and the white or a Corvette, the same thing. he took that GM color, and the idea was to make it softer by adding white to it, which is what led to the surf green. And sometimes they would, get some gallons of the stuff, and it's not right. In this case, someone didn't like the color. Maybe it was George, whoever, but Leo didn't want to waste things. Leo hated wasting things. So he got the idea that, Joel, just take that and paint my benches. So we have almost surf green benches.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. That's awesome. Wow.
But cool.
All right.
When this place was first built, it was before G&L. So Leo Fender founded another business called CLF Research, Clarence Leo Fender Research, in 1966. His contract with CBS, he sold Fender to, it was over in 1970. So there was a period that he was still doing design work and engineering support for Fender, but he did that from CLF Research. Starting, he remained in the Fender building, I believe, until 1966. That's when he started CLF and moved all his stuff out. But by the early 70s, that was over. That's when he was investing in a MusicMan with Tommy Walker, Forrest White, and they started making amplifiers. But once Leo Fender's non-compete term of 10 years was over, that's when the MusicMan instruments were launched. But he designed those and manufactured them here. So this place first was the CLF Research Factory, which made MusicMan instruments and sold them to the customer company, MusicMan, which Leo also invested in. So this place has been continuously
all the circles close,
It's been continuously making instruments since 1976. So it's just headstocks changed.
Wow. Wow. Thanks a lot for the tour.
My pleasure. Thanks
so
much for coming.
Absolutely interesting, and I wish you all the best. And now we'll see each other probably in a day or something like that.
Fantastic. I look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you, guys, and I hope you enjoy it. And please subscribe. Please share with us what your opinion is. And then if you have any questions, we'll answer it. So cheers, guys. See you later.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.